You're listening to Productivity Monsters in the Morning. We are the energy volt your real estate business needs to get you up and out and excited and productive for the day. We go over trending topics and things that really matter in the market of the moment. Here are your hosts, Tiffany Hampton and Brooke Silva.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm in my mobile office with the clear roof. I can actually see blue sky today. Yesterday, I drove home in the monsoon rains and I was trying to make phone calls. It was so funny because even with my AirPods in, the sound of the rain hitting the clear top was deafening. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to listen to a funny podcast on my way home and call it a day and not do any lead gen in my car on the way home.
So you should be proud of me. I actually ordered non-business books yesterday to read. I know.
Are you okay? Did you have a fever?
So yes and no.
Are they murder mysteries?
So we were going to talk about one subject, but I feel like we're going to talk about another subject. So my LLC is Be Do Achieve.
Yes.
It is my favorite bold law ever. And it's really hard to work through the B.
It's really hard to work through the B. The B is the hardest. It stings the most.
Yeah.
B.
And so left KW 2016, came back to KW in 2019. I came back to KW with no income, like no salary, no income, wasn't selling real estate, knew it would be 90 to 180 days before money would come into play. And also knew that the alignment of people was going to have to change. And so 2019, and I told you this Friday the 13th, 2023, the B finally happened where the do got the achieve. And I was like,
feel
right. And honestly, in all my years, I don't think I've slowed down enough to like really have that understanding, because I was just doing to survive. I mean, raising kids on their own as a single parent in the world that we live in with the economy in the world. Like this year, I walked the process and I was like, wow, when you really have the opportunity to just shut it all out, things happen.
You and I also poured into ourselves so much this year. I feel like 2023 was our year of personal growth. We both had to learn so much.
Yeah.
So much in order to move forward in our roles where we help other people. I feel like at least once a month, I'm in something where I leave and I go, my brain is going to melt out of my ears. There's going to be nothing left because it's churning and I'm overflowing. And you and I have been taught to take action on one thing. So we've been really good. Action was it my word of the year? I think, no, facilitate was. But to facilitate, I had to take action.
Yep.
And it feels good. It feels really, growth is hard. B is hard.
Well, it's insecurity too. Like, are you really making the right decisions? You know, before we got on this, we were talking about you never say no to an opportunity. You let it run through because it may be a no later, but it shouldn't be a no before you know all the facts.
One of the small things I've done, so I've been in a executive role for as long as I can remember since becoming an adult, like last year. No, from always starting base level and getting to where I wanted to be in the different corporate places I was in. I always had to do networking. I always had to do different things in order to make the connections I needed to make my role skyrocket, to do the sales, have the connections, to get the supplies, et cetera, et cetera. And this year I pulled the trigger on a membership that I have been watching for 10 years in a Facebook group. I've been a lurker in the free side, and I finally pulled the trigger and paid for the paid membership And my mind is blown at what I'm learning from other non-real estate women right now and how they're failing forward and how 2024 business is going to change for all of them, because real estate wasn't the only thing hit hard.
No.
I talked about this yesterday on a TikTok. We talked about seasonality. How do you fight seasonality in any business? So real estate sales are down because the ability to find inventory in some markets is down. So that trickles to other industries. We don't always think about that. We don't think about the fact that, okay, if there's no buyers buying homes, there's no inspectors inspecting homes. There's no painters painting those homes.
Mhm.
There's no cleaners cleaning those homes.
No flooring.
And there's no people, like, we have incredible artisans around Boston that make custom crafted buyers closing gifts. They're not getting as many sales. So we often don't think about that trickle down. Well, that networking group has made it now. So we are all thinking about seasonality different. And okay, so if we do this, what is one thing we can add to our business next year that would close the gap of seasonality?
Yep.
And it's now I'm feeling like I'm being. That be is, and I'm doing. It's just, business is changing and we've got to change with it. And just, we've got to try new things. We've got to make new networks. We've got to create those new tribes to thrive in 2024.
Well, and it's to the point too. I mean, you're making a huge point of who do you know in your world that's going to support your business?
Well, I'm also looking for people to add value to those already in my world. It's a total win-win relationship. I had a conversation the other day with an inspector and I said, when you're not inspecting, what do you do? He's like, I like Netflix, I like the barbecue. And I was like, what are you doing to fill the gap in your business? He's like, I've been thinking about that a lot and I'm struggling. And so we have a coffee meetup next week to see how we can help one another come up with some ideas on how he can help me in our world and I can help him in his world. And I think that's what we need to see in 2024 is we don't have to add 80 services, but what if we added one additional service that generated revenue to close the gap of seasonality? Because every business has seasonality. And sometimes right now, when you're working so hard, it feels like there is no season. It's one giant season of dog crap right now because it hurts.
Yeah. And that's the difference between people that are real estate practitioners and people that are real estate business owners, right? Like practitioners don't have these conversations.
They don't. They wake up.
The deal, and it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
You and I are like, and many of the people we hang out with, it's how do we grow? And how do we grow the people around us?
Right. And I've always said that. And people are like, why are you even offering me opportunities like this? We've done hardly any business. You've met me once or twice. And I've always said, I'd love to take people on the journey and the adventure with me who give me energy and I think are deserving of chances. What if one phone call I make changes someone's world? What if one kind email connecting two people changes their world? And that's what gets me excited every day. Our agents are constantly reaching out to us for ways to help them in their business. How many times have you seen on agents' Facebook pages, looking for a reliable XYZ in for my clients?
I just saw 4 of them this morning.
Yeah, I did too. Everybody's looking for oil burner people because it's almost time to put on the heat. I still have not.
I put mine on. I'm over it.
It's 60 degrees here. I'm not putting it on. Put on a sweater. But we need to find people to help our people. And it's not about getting rid of people you have in your network. Everybody's busy in those fields. There's not enough technical workers like that. HVAC, plumbing, carpentry, handyman. There's not enough people.
Right. So when you build great relationships and you pour into people, you're going to be on their top of the list.
We are. And then that's how those referrals back happen. Build a great community around you, network, pour into the people around you, and you'll get poured back into, and your business is going to change in 2024 big time.
Absolutely. And we are like, we spent the last 5 years of being isolated. I feel like isolation is starting to go away.
I think it is. And I think people are craving human relationships and a different type of relationship. We're going to see people become humans again and not robots and salespeople.
Yep.
And that's the type of business world I'm excited to be back in. I grew up with a dad who was an entrepreneur, owned businesses, and something I always loved watching, and I still love watching him interact in any type of setting where I bring him into my professional world, is he is just so curious about the people on the other side.
Yep.
And so his business when I was growing up was he was a photographer. He was a family portrait photographer and a developer. That was what his dad's business was. So my dad got to know people through their pictures because he was developing them. And he got to learn the stories of their lives and make sure that they had the best prints. Because back in the day, we used to print photos all the time. And my dad had the ability to paint negatives so that you had nothing wrong with your photo. He was the most amazing artist for these things. But I'll never forget watching him interact with the customers and clients that became family and friends. And when he sold his part of the business, people were devastated. He went into another role that was still consumer facing, and people followed him there, even though it was a completely different world. But that's what I want to get back to, that old 80s feeling of I walk in, people know my name, they know my family, they know what I do, and everybody is just kind to one another.
Yeah, we're getting there.
We're getting there. Kindness is coming back big time.
Absolutely. All right. Well, go change the world. I will talk to you
Same.
later. Bye.
Go shut the heat off.
Bye.